Welcome CSC 230 to part 6 of our EX18 hero page that we're working on. And this is the part where I'm just working through it and kind of doing some trial and error and trying to remember what I did the first time. And I'm doing some things differently. And actually, one thing that I just want to point out before I get to the query part, because we're going to focus on the media queries, is I was having an issue with the buttons where I had them centered and I had them down to like 16%, 17%, different things. And I know in the other one I had 19.5%. I didn't even look at the other code that I did the first time, but I'm running into this where it starts to bump a button down, and I thought, well, if they're percent, why aren't they just getting a smaller percent of the overall? And I realize it's my padding that's creating a problem. So I'm actually going to go here, and this will, I think, fix it. If I go to my button and I take away the padding on the right and left and I make it 0, and I don't need rem there, I could just put 0. So there'll be padding top and bottom on each button, and there'll be no padding on the right and left. That way we should be able to put it at 20%. That should take up the full size of the 100% nav that we have. So let's see if that works. We even have -2 margin in there, which may help a little, but let's see if this helps. I'm going to refresh it, and it does. It pushes it to the end, and let's see when we resize it. And that looks pretty good. And eventually it even stacks it. We don't even have to do the stack. It's stacking it on its own based on the percentage when we get there, and it looks like it's staying centered. So I didn't even do a media query for that, but that's actually what we're wanting at the end. So I might not have to do a media query. Now we will have to break this into one column, and we'll do it at like 580. I think that's what I had. Also, this is about 500 here. Also, this we have to make a little smaller, maybe even the button a little smaller, and maybe the picture, cut that off a little smaller too. So that was what I did for the button. So again, the button, I took away the padding on the right and left and put it back to 20%. It actually worked out well. So let's go down to the media queries. Hero text. Hero text to start is each one I'm looking at was 6 rem. Let's try 4 rem, see what happens. So I'll just copy this, font size, and go down to the bottom in my media query and just paste that in, backspace here, and make that 4 rem. And see how that looks. And I'll refresh, and I'll go smaller, and that looks better. And maybe 5, but I think that looks okay. And we'll make the image smaller too. We don't need the image. I think we could cut it off smaller and make everything center. We don't need that much room on the top and bottom. And maybe even, I don't know, let's try 5 rem, see what that looks like. And we got to think about it getting smaller too. So let me do 4.5 rem, and we'll see how that looks. And then also the hero image, let's go up and see where we have the hero image. Hero image, we have height 600. Let's try 400. I think that's what I did. So I'll go down here to the hero image in my query and backspace and put 400. See how that works. And I'll refresh and resize it, and that looks better. Less space on the top and bottom. Could even go a little bit smaller, but I think that's good. Now the buttons look good. We could even make the buttons a bigger text on them if we need in the query. But let's deal with the flex container and the H2s. I think the H2s look good. I'm not going to do anything with them right now, but the flex container, remember, that's going to be display column, I believe, and I always forget when I take it out of. I have to look because I always forget. I know we've done this in the past, but W3 schools, Flexbox, and I want to look at Flexbox responsive and how we take it out. And I think we go to column to actually take it out because it'll be a single column. I think row means it's kind of the opposite of what you think. But I think we're going to put it into a column. That's flex direction column. I always forget that. So we're going to do the container, flex direction, and we'll do column. It's always sometimes good to put the row in so you know which is the opposite when you do it. But let's just see. This should put it into one column. There we go. And then when we get to like 580, boom, one column. That looks pretty good. I think these look good. And I might even make my buttons look a little bit bigger. I know I don't have anything for button display block. Where is our button size? We actually have it in the size here. And maybe I don't know. Well, I'll just copy this whole thing and I'll put it at the end here. And I'll tab this over And I'll tab this over so I see it. So I make sure I have my double curly braces at the end. I'm not doing anything with the white. I'm not changing text align center. But maybe I'll make my rems 1.5 and just see what that looks like. Refresh. And that looks a little bit better there, I think. You could even make your H2s a little bit bigger, but I think that's okay. I think this looks all right. I think our padding looks okay. I don't think I need to take off much padding. You can always make it a little bit less if you need for the column, because in the column I had it, each column I had 0.5 rem. You could do a little less if you want. Maybe just cut that in half. See if that helps. Let's try it one more time. And I guess that looks okay. It doesn't look a whole lot different. You can maybe take it 0. Maybe that's what I did. I made it 0. But that looks okay. And I think that's good for now for EX18. What we're going to do is try and do one more thing. I'll try to do like a little form. We haven't worked with forms, and I don't know how deep we'll get into it because we do that in the database class where we validate forms and use JavaScript. I don't know how much we'll do that. But we'll do something with one of these pages down here, so we have one more page to do just to finish up at the end, because even for Unit 15 you'll have like 2 weeks because the semester goes to the 16th, so you have plenty of time to do that, and it won't be anything really long to do that. But if you got this wasn't that bad. This didn't take as long as I thought, and by helping you out with some code here, it probably made it a little bit quicker, and I even fixed some things as I went, including the buttons where I had weird percentages because I had padding in there, and once I take them out. So 580 is the breakpoint. I think that's okay. I think that's good for now. So that's part 6. Hopefully that helps you if you were having any problems. We'll probably have one more exercise, a 19, where we'll do some kind of form or something, or do something where we have a table. We can even do pricing with a table. We could do a contact form. I'm not sure yet, but I'll put together one little exercise for you at the end. I mean, just think about it. Anything we could do here. An About Us page. We could do a portfolio page where we do a bunch of pictures. We could do a testimonials where we have kind of like block quotes. We could do pricing with a table, and we could do a contact form with a table, and also some of the form interface elements that are part of HTML with that as well. So I'll have one more thing with that to finish up. So anyway, hopefully that helped you with EX18, and any questions, try to do it on your own, but if you need help with this, maybe this will help a little bit.